this episode of Coffee with Quallich, we head to Grand Rounds Brew Pub in Rochester. There, I have the privilege of having a cup of coffee with our very own chief meteorologist, Randy Brock. Here's our conversation. Did you always know you wanted to be a meteorologist?
Always? I was always into that. I didn't know if I always wanted to do that. And I think I had my reservations about it in college when I really got into some of those advanced math courses. But I was 8th grade, and I wanted to be a pilot and a meteorologist. And that's when I told my dad that, and he looked at me like I had grown 3 heads. So, yeah.
So where did the decision finally come?
I thought about it for years leading up to that point, when you're supposed to start applying for colleges and stuff. And I mean, there weren't a whole lot of programs around the country then. There are more now, but it was, kind of a strange decision. You tell people, I want to be a meteorologist.
Tell us about how you first got your first job as a meteorologist.
I was an intern at the NBC station in Denver at KUSA, and I just fell into that. I had a couple of classmates who were interns there, and they said, we got an opening, and we don't have anyone in it right now, so why don't you stop by and, I guess, apply. I guess I just had to knock on the door and say I was interested. And after about 2 or 3 months in that internship, they just said, you need to try out in front of the camera, probably because I talked a lot. And they threw me in front of the camera, and it was probably one of the scariest things I'd ever done, like in the studio with all these people who were very well established in their careers, from the production crew to the on-air crew. And it took one person giving me a compliment. They said, hey, you should really consider this. So I did, and I made a tape and I sent it out, and I got a call on the day of my very last final from Doppler Dave Oliver in Amarillo, Texas, and he said, hey, we like your tape, we just want to give you the job, so come on down and see if you like the station. That was it.
That was it.
I worked there for 3 years and then came up here in 2002.
How does a meteorologist develop a sense of style as far as making the weather sort of relatable? How do you do that?
I don't know. Do I do that?
You do, and you do it very well. That's why you're the chief.
I think it takes years of just doing it, and years of kind of finding your own niche and building your confidence. And at first, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I didn't have any self-confidence in standing there and talking about the weather. So I think it just took years. It took building a sense of who I was and the ability to communicate, and you hear feedback, certainly, and that plays into it too. But being comfortable.
How do you deal with feedback? We're in an age now where there's more social media and feedback is almost instant. But how have you dealt with that over your career?
Wild. Nowadays it's a fire hose. It's a fire hose of information. You just stick your face into it. And when I started, all we had was a phone in the weather office, managers who would come in and say, yeah, that was a little over the top this morning. It's only a couple inches of snow or something like that. And now you've got feedback from every corner. And you take it, every bit of feedback has got useful information to it, even if it's you're going to hear some very heated comments regarding things or some angry stuff, and every one bit of it has a bit of truth to it.
What's the one thing that hasn't changed about being a forecaster?
We're still, I guess, at the whims of nature, which we will never be able to peg exactly what's going to happen. So you have to be ready to act when something does happen. Thunderstorms on days where they shouldn't produce tornadoes could. When you get one thunderstorm in one location that doesn't move and creates flooding in a very small area where the rest of us are, on a beautiful summer day. You just have to react to kind of the wild things that happen.
Tell us one thing people wouldn't necessarily know about Randy.
For my 40th birthday, I bought myself a chainsaw, and I love to do this. So we live in a little wooded plot, east of town, and I've got a lot of trees to take care of, and I love it. So if I've got 6 hours free on a Saturday, cutting wood is really kind of a nice getaway. It's an ability to just relax.
So the big final 3 that I've been asking everybody. First of all, your favorite food?
If I have my night at home and I get to pick the meals, tacos.
Really?
Tacos. Taco night. Yeah.
Randy Brock can't live without
Twizzlers.
Twizzlers.
Coffee.
Uh-huh.
I think every morning is a matter of habit, and this was a tough morning because at our house, I've got the coffee grinder and love to make a pot of coffee in the morning. Yes, it's not a real big deal. I'm kind of a simple guy. A couple cups of coffee in the morning and I'm set.
The final question, when Randy Brock goes off the air, what do you want people to remember about you?
Wow. I just hope I've made a good impression. That's all. That, you know, people will remember you by how you treated them. And I know sometimes we all get busy in the daily grind, and sometimes you're short with people, but I hope I've treated people well, and gosh, it sounds really aloof to sit here and say I'm a nice guy, but I hope that people think that I was a pretty nice guy. I mean, yeah.